On September 22, 1865, two men who were put to work in the jail kitchen as cooks escaped. William Henry Thompson and Thomas Reynolds were employed in the kitchen to prepare breakfast for the remainder of the prison population at the Geelong Gaol. William Thompson was a 30-year-old man from Yorkshire who used several aliases including Baxter, Farrell, Courtney and Duncan, but his real name was Samuel Gibson. Thompson had been sentenced for 3 years for larceny from Michael Clancy of the Queen's Head Hotel in 1864. He had served around 14 months at the time of his escape. Thomas Reynolds was a young 19-year-old man who'd been jailed for 3 years for the unprovoked assault on an elderly man named James Hunter. The assault was thought to be revenge for some cattle rustling charges against Reynolds. Reynolds had served around half of his sentence at the time of his escape. At 5:45 a.m, Warder William Burke released the two men from their cells via a lever at the top of the second-floor stairs and then locked them in the south wing to perform their cooking duties. But on this day, Thompson and Reynolds had other ideas. The kitchen wing was newly completed and the high brick wall was yet to be built around this wing, still having the wooden palisade fencing. Using a piece of wood, Thompson would wrench one of the iron bars from the bluestone surroundings the window. These bars were supposed to be set at 2.5 inches into the surrounding brick, but these were found at a later inquiry to have only been sunk 1 inch, making them easy to dislodge. The two men made their way unseen over the wooden fencing and would enter Burke Crescent, near where the Pivot Hotel once stood, a street over from the jail where they were seen talking to a third unknown man. Unlucky for the two escapees, at the same time, Warder Curley, who lived nearby, was making his way to work at the jail and recognised Reynolds. He called out, "Is that you, Reynolds?" And the three men dispersed in different directions, with the unknown man heading towards town, Thompson heading to Chilwell, and Reynolds being captured before he had a chance to run. Reynolds was back behind the bluestone walls before 15 minutes had elapsed from the escape. The jail itself was unaware of the escape until Curley arrived with Reynolds. Thompson had a little more luck. Running off in the direction of Chilwell, Thompson was spotted by another warder heading to the jail for duty. He recognised Thompson as a prisoner by the brand on his trousers. He was also carrying a parcel under one arm, thought to be a change of clothes, and was armed with a knife. The warder gave chase for over 1.5 miles before he lost sight of Thompson and attracted the attention of the police. It was then Thompson was lost after he cleared a fence and disappeared into the gardens near the Cremorne Hotel. Thompson would not be heard of again until a month later when he was finally apprehended in Adelaide. But South Australian authorities had no more success at holding Thompson. In December 1865, while he was still being held at the Adelaide jail on remand, waiting to be sent back to Victoria, Thompson managed to escape once more. This time, he reappeared about 12 months later, now using the name of Henry Sinclair, in Ipswich in Queensland. He was on trial for having, on July 29, 1866, broken into a hotel called the Highland Home in Ipswich, owned by Hugh Campbell, and stealing money and jewellery. The court sentenced him to 7 years. Although Thompson was identified at the time as William Thompson, who had escaped from the jail in September 1865, no action seems to have been taken regarding this. In the meantime, back at Geelong Gaol, Thomas Reynolds was charged with breaking out of the jail, to which he pleaded not guilty. He would be given another 12 months with hard labour on top of his original sentence. But Reynolds did not learn his lesson and would again attempt to break out in December 1865. But again, he was unsuccessful.